Hi, Xavi. Thank you for joining my podcast. We have been working together in our organization for a few years now, and I know that you look after a lot of global programs in regards with partner and customer enablement. And one of the reasons that I wanted to invite you and have you as a guest in my podcast is because we have been chatting and discussing a lot of times how important and how strategic it is to understand the partner enablement, the customer enablement. And you have mentioned to me also about the behavior change and the whole this process that takes place when we are trying to transition from one situation to the other. And one of the reasons that I wanted to have you here is because I would like to expand more about this topic.
Yeah, pleased to be here. Really happy to participate in your podcast. Yeah, it has been like a really intense years working together in some projects, and yeah, it has always been great to work with you because you got my ideas very quickly, and we really get very good results after all.
Thank you very much. So, first of all, tell me, what do you think about the customer enablement? How do you see it yourself? And also in regards with the change management and more specifically with the behavior change. This was
Mhm.
something that you have a very solid background, as I understand.
Yeah, I mean, when we talk about customer enablement, sometimes I see companies focusing on how to sell more. Okay, and for me that's a huge error because they want to sell more to sell better afterwards. And in my opinion, they need to take it the other way around. They need to sell better in order to sell more. Because if the customer enablement initiatives are just a way to engage with your customers without taking into account their needs, their want, their needs, their pains, it's just a recipe for failing at the
Mhm.
end.
So,
So, in my experience, I come from a very technical background. I studied IT engineering, but then I evolved into more human-centered positions, ending up studying neuropsychology and even researching about how adults learn, because there is a lot of literature, scientific literature about how um, children learn, how boys and girls learn, but there's not a lot of literature when it comes to adults. And it happens that if you want to change the behavior of an individual, you need to focus on mostly on their motivations, but also on how to make that change sustainable and how to make that change stay. Even if stressful conditions arrive, you want that change to persist. You want that change to be something really deeply rooted in their base behavior. And that is something that I don't think many companies are striving to accomplish, honestly.
yeah, I think the key word here is learn, because when we usually, from my experience, when we are talking about partner enablement or even customer enablement, and we forget that this is a learning process. We think that enablement is just delivering some learning material, and we just provide them with the resources, with the material, and to just kickstart their project, whatever the topic is. But indeed, as enablement is not just delivery. There is a gap here in the whole process. This is something that we have seen it in many times, also observing how the whole IT industry is working around that. And especially now that we have so much rapid advancements in technology, and
Mhm.
the interaction that we have, even with AI, with everything, and there is an overflow of knowledge And I really feel that there is this gap of the learning. My personal observation is that we would need a little bit more time to give that, and also to focus more on the human centric, how the humans are learning. Um,
Mm-hmm.
in your
As adults.
opinion, and in your, yes, exactly, in your opinion and in your experience, what are the most common challenges that you have seen in the behavior change and in the learning process?
Um, First of all, I think learning is the keyword, but not learning as we tend to understand learning, as academic learning, as formal learning, but learning in understanding learning in a way that changes behavior, because almost all human behavior is learned. So we cannot dismiss that idea and start working without that premise. Okay, in in my experience, I've seen companies wants to go faster than people can assimilate what they are trying to push.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and for that, I'm going to use a very simple example. Um, what is one of the most successful industries in the last years? It's video games. And why is that? It's not just that a lot of things are happening very fast and people are engaged and it's so colorful and so active. It's not just that. I mean, if you analyze the video games that are the most successful, they start with very simple levels, with very simple missions. They take the user, they know the user needs to learn the mechanics of the game. So
Yeah,
they take the user and make them accomplish like such small missions, like such small goals, but in order to take them to a state where they can enjoy the game
yeah,
at its full, the 100% of the game. Okay. And sometimes when we talk about companies, they want the end user, the end customer to go from 0 to 100% with just a slide deck.
yeah,
And,
yeah,
and, and, and that's terrible. That's a terrible experience. You're not making them understand why they want to do it. You're just not focusing on their motivations. You usually would talk about a lot features and the technology underneath, but we're not talking about business outcomes. And
yeah.
honestly, if we are not doing that, how is that customer going to be motivated in
Mm-hmm.
order to accomplish something? Why? Why
Yeah.
should they be interested in this, right? So the major error that I'm seeing, it's a lot of companies are focusing on how well they are doing and not what the user wants.
Yeah.
And we see that the most successful companies are not focusing on technology features, even performance. They are focusing on what the user wants and how they want it delivered.
The gaming example is the gaming industry example is so on point, and I think the IT industry has a lot to learn from that industry. First of all, I have noticed, I'm not a gamer, but from the little, like small games that I'm playing on my mobile, I
Mm-hmm.
see how I have noticed how gradually and very lightly they introduce me into the gaming, first to train, give me all the nice points, all this generosity, and then slowly they raise the level. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and also in the bigger games, I have noticed they're really focusing on the experience. And in order to focus on the experience and to include also the storytelling, you really need to know your audience, but not in the cliche way we are saying it. More
Mm-hmm.
around how what is the emotional state of that person the moment that they want to learn. how do we enable them? These are so specific, these are so
Mhm.
sensitive information, which of course is very difficult to map, but at the same time, it's easy to
Mhm.
go into and take a little bit more space in our planning and in our strategy and just engage a little bit more with the people.
Yep.
I am a very strong believer of the assessments and the surveys and the simple conversation and the research before going into the planning and strategy session. Um, so you have so much experience in enablement and in the learning, and you have such a rich background. Also, what is an enablement plan, how it should look like in your opinion? How, if you had all the resources all the time, uh, how would you create it there, the ideal enablement plan?
Okay, then going back to the gaming example, an enablement plan cannot be linear. The one thing that the gaming industry understood is that if they take the user in a linear progression at the beginning of the game, it's very easy for them to upskill at the level that they require to leverage the game, right? And the game experience. When it comes to customer enablement, it doesn't work that way. But it doesn't work that way because of the things that you said, because the places where each customer is when they became interested in the product or the solution is very different. So we cannot design a linear process for our customers to go through in order to really engage with us in the way that we want them to be, right? So you said a very small word that for me it's the key there. It's mapping. It's not a linear journey. It's a map of experience that we need to be ready to deliver to the customer, so they feel that they are doing their own journey in
Hmm.
in order to end up purchasing that product, that solution. Obviously, that depends on the market that you are operating. It's very different on B2C that in B2B, for example. But focusing on B2B, usually solutions are quite hard to sell because the organization that are acquiring them should be like really, really aligned to adopt that. Because otherwise you will face like a huge churn rates because someone with power can push for that solution to be adopted. But if the organization is not ready, that deployment is going to fail, and the chances that they are going to churn are very high.
Hmm.
So an enablement plan for me should cover um, most of the ad car
Yeah,
phases.
the change management principles.
Exactly, the change management, the very basics of it, but with different flavors in
Hmm.
each stage. So
Yes, absolutely.
because there are several stakeholders within the organizations
Yeah,
that need to go through that process. You may want to push for a change in an organization, but you need to deliver one person at a time. You cannot change the organization as a whole. You need to go person by person and getting their trust and,
yeah,
and, and getting to know you in order to accomplish that enablement, because otherwise it's just a drop in the ocean.
yeah. I will deviate a little bit from our discussion. You said it's different person to person, and we have so many stakeholders. I will refer to something that happened to me lately. In my discussions on social media, someone asked me how I can enter the cybersecurity industry. Someone who has
Mhm.
no idea, is totally outside of this scope of content and knowledge. And what I advise, and I also share it on LinkedIn, is that you first need to get your feet wet. even if that means these are the key vendors, these are the key players in the industry. Read their PR, understand their journey as companies, as organizations. And I had someone come into my DMs, yeah, in a sense, saying that that this is too lightly. They cannot enter such a niche sector only by that, of course. But you see that, and that person has a very rich, very specialized technical background. And then you see that the people, even that they are so into the technical, they have forgotten. And these are the people that they continue learning. They have forgotten how it is to learn something new because they are within the content, they are within the industry. And I think this is exactly what we are missing. As you said, we need to think about the human, about the different roles that we are targeting. And in my opinion, I see many times that we consider enablement as a part of a go-to-market strategy, which in a way it is, but enablement is not a marketing tactical plan. For example, let's say,
It's a strategical one.
yes, let's say these are the features. You take some campaigns. You take. This is not what we do, and especially how our industry is shifting towards consultation, towards tailored solutions. Enablement is going to be more and more interesting. What is your view on AI?
On AI.
Every discussion needs to have something about AI. So here I am.
Okay. First of all, your experience with someone trying to enter a market that they were not like deep into the technicalities. I would say there is always a way because everyone thinks their industry is the most complex one. If you talk to finance, if you talk to insurances, if you talk to automotive, all of them say that they have the most complex industry. But at the very end of it, there are people,
Yeah.
and you need to understand them, and you can learn as much as you want about the technical issues of that industry, but that it's not going to provide you with the opportunity to join. Just demonstrate that you can provide outcomes in a different way that they are doing today, and you will get the opportunity. But you need to demonstrate that you are able to deliver on those promises, right?
Yeah.
So that would be my first take on it. And regarding AI, okay, for the last two and something and some months, 2 years and some months, that has been crazy. Okay, the announcements of the industry are so fast that you cannot even keep up with all the announcements, the new features. I just learned that I think it's Google and OpenAI released like a tutor kind of role for learning in their assistants, and I haven't experienced them yet. I will, but I think there is a bit of overpromise on what AI can accomplish, not because of the limitations of the technology, because the technology is quite developed at this stage, but the underlying systems that they need to provide information to AI in order for AI to really be working at this 100%, they are not really yet. The digitalization motion that we have been hearing for a lot of time, that we have been seeing like a lot of incentives in the European Union for the companies to go through, it's not really yet. We are still seeing like a lot of companies working based on Excel spreadsheets. We are seeing a lot of companies still not having their assets fully digitalized. So AI is going to change that we work? Yeah, probably. In fact, I would say surely. But first, we need to make our data ready, because we should not forget that AI is based on data. And at the moment, they are statistical models that provide us with the answer. And generative AI is a very useful tool. I use it all the time, but it's not yet at the point of breaking some of the models that we know already, because the data, the underlying data, is not
It's not
secured
good. Yeah.
and sorted.
Yeah. And also that ties also with customer enablement, because if we want to dive deeper into the persona and the profile and the different profiles that we want to serve, again you need the data, and you need this statistical analysis, but also the qualitative analysis. You need to have these conversations, and so indeed you cannot even for that rely solely on AI. And you mentioned something about our sector previously. I think you mentioned something about the human factor, and I do believe that cybersecurity is a highly human focused sector. Uh, there is a lot of there is a lot of discussion about the technological advancements, about the risk, about the threats, about how to secure the networks, how to secure the cloud, the data and everything, the information in general. But in the end, it all it takes is a light human mistake. So yes, again, this is a challenge for whoever works with enablement, to focus
Mhm.
first on the awareness part. This is also part of the cybersecurity go-to-market strategy in general. So if we were to summarize, to have some key takeouts from this discussion, and I believe what we have said is that we need a little bit more time when we build
Mhm.
enablement programs. We need to dive deeper into the persona, and we need, as I understand, to take into account the learning methods and the learning journey more than the enablement as enablement delivery.
Yeah, as a commercial motion,
Yes.
rather than a behavioral change. Because sometimes when we talk about learning, there's a high resistance on the people side. Okay, but if we talk about human behavior and behavior change, um, those resistances are a little bit lower, right? We are in a moment in the history where the market is quite um, it's quite different, right? Because we have several generations in the same market. And for example, when I was born, there was no internet at all.
Yeah, indeed.
Right. Right. And I learned to use that. And
Yeah.
but we have generations in the workplace now that they were born with Netflix at their fingertips. So
Yes.
and that's very different. The life experience is very different. So if you want to change the behavior, either you understand the background for that person, or you are going to fail miserably. And sorry for being so blunt, but the foundations, the knowledge, the experience foundations, where the people base their behavior are very different. It's
Yeah.
like if you try to sell using Challenger to a very closed culture,
Mm-hmm.
and you will not even get a second call with those customers, right? So when we talk about enablement, let's start thinking about it differently. Thinking, okay, I have people in front of me. I don't have organizations. So let's focus on their motivations, their wants, their needs, their pains, and start working from there instead of I'm delivering this how it should fit in their organizations,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah. we need to take into account also the customer experience, because when you're focusing so much on the human and
Mm-hmm.
you want
Yeah.
human to succeed, then this excitement he brings it back to their organization. That creates strengthens the relationship of the two organizations.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Yeah.
So,
When we go into customer experience, there's a lot to discuss because if you're approaching customer experience as customer support, you haven't understood the problem directly.
absolutely. That's also the joy or the enjoyment, as I say, of our role as program managers. That we get to touch so many different aspects of the business. It's a charming of our business. We
Mm-hmm.
definitely continue this discussion. I think I have so many notes here that I would like to discuss with you. Thank you so much. And
Pleasure.
we'll definitely come back to that.
Thank you. Thank you. Really nice experience in here.
Thank you.